Good morning, ladies and gents. I know it's a long time no see, but let's skip all of those introduction bits. We're off to London.
Yeah. Unknown brain. Marvin Divine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
I know that I gotta stay away from all your games. Yeah, I know that I found somebody else to love me one day. You'll realize the grass ain't green on the other side. No, you did me dirty for the last time, so now I gotta
Yeah, what are we going to do? What do you want to do?
Probably eat soon.
Yeah. We can keep your head out if you want.
Okay, and we are back in South Wales. This was yesterday's workout. Today's Wednesday. This is the Wednesday after Sunday, where we went out to the day festival. Very good time with James up in London. I do quite like London in small bite-sized pieces. It's okay for a weekend, but I don't think I could manage to live there. But it was a good festival. It was a little bit strange considering me and James were probably the only people there without our tops on, and looked like that we had lived in the gym for a little bit of time. I don't think many people lift mainstream in London, or that went to that festival anyway, so that was a bit of an interesting one. Got a few comments, some nice, some not so nice, but hey, there's all sorts in the world. Didn't stop us having fun. So in this workout we can see I've done an isolation first off with the cuffed lateral raise. The reason I'm starting off with those is because the lateral delta is still a muscle group which I'm focusing on trying to build up a little bit more. Then we also go into another isolation, this one the pec deck fly. You'll notice I'm using the handles on this machine, and this is just so that the hand position is a little bit more free moving around the wrist. It's not in a fixed position, and also I find that the mind muscle connection is just a lot better using the handles here. So this is the second isolation, and we're just basically pre-fatiguing before we go into our heavier pressing movements. Reason for that is I'm not really too interested in lifting as heavy a weight as I possibly can. I'm not looking to be a power lifter. I'm not looking to optimize my training to be strength focused. I don't mind, having a bit of strength in there, but my main focus with training is to stimulate the muscle. And if I'm able to kind of get a little bit of isolation exercises done previous, create a little bit more fatigue in the muscle, then when it comes to my working sets I don't need to lift as heavy a weight. So in theory my joints, tendons and ligaments aren't going to be as battered in the years to come. That doesn't mean that I don't always, sometimes I do go and lift a lot heavier, and I am focused a little bit more on moving more weight, but in these scenarios where I'm focusing a little bit more on building up specific muscle groups, that's when I go into this pre-fatigue kind of setup. And I've used this more so in the last sort of 3 years, and I definitely think it's helped a lot more with my ongoing progress. Because when you've been lifting, you've been training for a set number of years, you get to a point where your progress starts to slow down, the sort of plateau as they call it, but definitely seem to have continued to see some more progress by using that sort of mechanism during training. Here we are finishing off with dips, a little bit of a movement which I took out from the majority of this training block because I injured my back doing dips. Just the weight pulled my hips down a little bit too far or something, set off my sciatic nerve, but we all seem to be fairly good now, so dips are back in. So I thought I would include a little physique update here. This is not actually my finishing, my finishing dieting phase physique, but it's fairly close to. Like my legs came in a little bit further than this. I think I was down like another sort of 1.5 kilos from this. So it's definitely not the driest, but this is sort of the look in which I prefer. The look after this, where you kind of dig a little bit deeper in order to then have a longer gaining phase, I find you just kind of look a little bit flatter, but there is benefit from going through that phase, for sure. Some things which I'm like highlighting from this for myself is my hamstring growth. I do think my hamstrings are starting to respond, which is really nice to see, because that has been a really frustrating area for me for the last few years. But yeah, hamstrings, obviously back has continued to progress. Like that's been my strongest muscle in my physique for quite some time, but it's continued to progress a little bit. Legs, we're not really doing much leg training at the moment, but it's more knee rehab, so that's the only sort of stimulant my legs are getting. But they actually seem to be holding on. Like I'm not like training close to failure with it, but they seem to be doing okay, especially my quads. But hamstrings are taking a little bit more of a battering because I'm doing Nordics and things like that. But I'm quite happy with this look at the moment, so I'm looking forward to the next season. It's going to be a good one. Okay, so the last clip you saw there was a few weeks ago. This is a more up-to-date physique shot or training footage, as this was Saturday, yesterday. I'm now in a position where obviously I've gone through the dieting phase. I've now started to take food up quite nicely. I feel good, I feel full, like my training's nice. My hormones all feel in a good place. So yeah, it's a nice place to be in at the moment. There's not much in terms of like actual food choices and things like that have changed. I've literally just started to increase the quantities. So in terms of like meals and things like that, it's all still the same amount of meals, but we just increased the food a little bit in each meal. But yeah, can't complain. Like I like this phase of training. It's sort of like this phase kind of determines how well the off season is going to go, and it's going very well. So I'm looking to deload next week probably from the Wednesday, get a few training sessions in first, and also because I've taken up climbing, I've started doing like rock climbing and bouldering. I want to finish off my last session of that before then going into a deload, so my tendons don't get exhausted from climbing and things like that, as it does take its toll on your fingers especially, and that bicep tendon as well. I do actually enjoy deloads. Like I didn't at the beginning. I used to see it more as a chore, but now sort of, because maybe I'm in the sort of routine of the training block, and I know that when I get to a certain point that I have a deload coming up, I then push my training just that little bit harder. Not that I can really sort of train that much harder safely, but I kind of just push a tiny bit harder, and then the next week I'm like ready for that deload. I'm ready for that rest, you know. So yeah, I feel like once you have done it a few times, you see the benefit, and you actually don't really mind having that deload, that time off, because you know it's going to benefit you so much more. I've also started changing up my hair. I started a little bit, so we've gone a lot shorter on top. Not really something which I thought I'd be doing, but my barber said, I think it would look good on you, and I was just like, you know what, fine, let's give it a go. We're going into winter anyway, so there's hats and stuff like that. So I'm going to give short hair a go for a bit. Try to keep the fade on the side going and stuff, but yeah, it's just a little bit less maintenance. And also I found as well, when obviously having cold showers and stuff like that first thing in the morning, I love a cold shower, but when having a cold shower, if I can get my head straight under, and obviously I've got no hair now, or very little hair, it just makes it like that much more impactful. Like that cold rush over your head, it's just so nice. And it's also supposed to be very beneficial for helping that blood-brain barrier, helping getting blood into the sort of areas of your head, which is very beneficial, you know. I've heard many things about like depression and anxiety and things like that, a lot of them being linked to like the amount of blood flow in your brain as well. which I don't know how true it is, but you know, if it helps a little bit in like a placebo effect, that's still positive in my eyes. So why not? But anyway, it's a little bit of a side tangent there. This is how we're looking. Training's going well, and we've got a bit more recovery time coming up soon. So this is the end of the video, guys. If you've got any other comments that you'd like to leave below, please do. It obviously helps the YouTube algorithm if you like and comment. But also, I'm quite interested in what you have to say. So if you've got any ideas for videos, if you thought anything about the stuff which we've discussed in this video and you'd like to have my opinion on something else, by all means, shoot it on the comments and I will get back to you in comment. So we'll have a little conversation. Speak to you soon, guys. Take care and enjoy the rest of this raw clip.